Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn, and I'm joined today by my best good buddy, Mr. Nick Miller. Nick, how in the heck are you, my friend? You did such a good job. For those of you that don't know, you should be watching on YouTube. First of all, we've been doing live film reviews and lots of cool stuff over there, but Nick and I play this game with each other and have now for 5 years. We're on Zoom a lot. He's in Kansas, I'm in Oklahoma. And we try to hold a straight face like we've been frozen. And Nick almost had me stop that intro because he was so focused. Focused.
My eyes were like, oh, I'm going to blink. I'm going to blink. I'm going to blink. And so I just decided to break the whole thing rather than do that.
You did a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. So, yes, now you're all getting a little BTS of what it's like to record a podcast with myself and John. But John, I am doing well. Have a big wedding weekend on Friday. I'm flying to Dallas, shooting a wedding in Dallas. On Sunday, we're flying from Dallas to Portland, Maine.
Yeah, you are.
Where we're going to do an intimate wedding and outside of Acadia National Park. And then, so I'll be gone for about a week going to Dallas and then Maine. I've never been to Maine. I'm very excited about Maine. And I know you
Well,
have a big wedding weekend this weekend as well.
It's a big one. I'm going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Blake, the editor, is shooting with me, and so is Austin, our graphics and web designer, shooting some behind the scenes for our YouTube channel. A lot of good things going on. Did we mention the YouTube channel? No, I'm just kidding. Nick, another thing that's really exciting is we had our good buddies on the podcast today, and we haven't had them on since 2019. And you weren't even on the episode last time. So
I don't know if I mattered in 2019 for the podcast.
Oh, you mattered, my friend. You mattered. You always matter.
Cool.
You and that big, handsome beard, huh, my buddy? Okay, anyway, back to what we were saying. Reve Films, Lindsey and Cherish Conklin. Guys, these two are destroying it. They are charging lots to do very, very nice weddings all over the globe. Celebrity weddings, luxury planners. They're good friends of ours. We catch up on what they've been up to since we talked to them last. They had just filmed Tiesto's wedding and some bachelor people wedding, Ricky Fowler, the golfer's wedding, a lot of celebrities. And in the last few years, their business has blown up. So we talked to them just what they've been doing, what they've been working on, how they have continued to stay at the top. And we talked to them about a very, very special announcement, Nick. And the announcement is, you'll have to listen to the episode for it. So, Nick, without any further ado, let's hop into this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, welcome back to the show after just a couple of years, Mr. Lindsey and Miss Cherish Conklin of Reve Films. Guys, how are you? What have you been up to? Say hello to How to Film Weddings.
What's up?
Hi, guys. How's it going?
I'm glad we're redoing this because the first time we did this, Nick was not here, and I felt like I got gypped a little bit. So I'm glad Nick finally graced us with his presence. Thank you for joining, buddy. It's good to see you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad I could
took a lot.
be here.
It took a lot.
It did. It did.
I had to twist his arm, but you guys are here. For those out there that might not know who you all are, why don't you give us a little rundown, if you will, of who is Reve Films? Give us just a little bit of who you guys are and what you've been up to.
Reve Films is Cherish and I. It's a boutique wedding film house. we film weddings. We've been all joking aside, we Cherish and I, we've been doing this for I guess we filmed our first wedding in 2005, and then it was just kind of a side business, and she went full-time in 2010. I went full-time in 2018, and the rest is history, and this is all we do. We get to travel the world together, do a lot of high-end luxury destination weddings for high net worth individuals, and it's been a good ride.
Yeah,
cannot believe I get to do what I do for a living. I love it.
And when you say travel the world, you don't just mean like I do it. When I went to Cabo one time, I'm like, I'm a world traveler.
Guatemala, guys. I went to Guatemala.
Like you guys are going like literally all over the world.
I've never been to Guatemala. This is true. Has anybody here? If you've been to Guatemala, raise your hand. Anybody on this?
That's me. I've been to Guatemala. Have I said
filmed,
this?
John, you filmed
You
the
should
wedding
check
in
out my
Guatemala?
new film. Yeah, my Guatemala film. Doing well over there on the YouTubes.
We've done Europe and Mexico. We've been to the Caribbean, Anguilla.
Mm-hmm.
I've shot events in Morocco,
was
Ireland.
I wasn't there, but
You were not.
I
You were not in
pretended I was
Morocco. Yeah, that was not a wedding. That was a conference. But it's all over. We just go where they tell us to.
Yeah, and I've been watching you guys since 2019 now. We met at Vision Quest in Austin, and I was on a boat, and there was this tall dude, this handsome man, and that was Nick. And next to him was you. Mm-hmm. Lindsey was on the boat.
Right.
And see what I did there? That made you feel good, and then pulled it away.
Was good. No, that was really
thanks.
good.
We got along really well, and I was like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? And I was just taken back by the fact that you didn't try to sell anything. You didn't try to say what you did. You were just there being a good person, being around, getting to know people, and you guys do that so well. And since then, the last few years, we've become good friends, done a lot of things. You've spoken for our Calibrate workshop. You've spoken at our mastermind. You're very involved with the How to Film Weddings community. And I've just been watching from afar. I remember saying whenever I first found you guys, it's like you had just done a wedding for someone on The Bachelor. You had just done Tiesto's wedding. You just done it's like these films are really good, but they're it's got to be something they've got these relationships. They got something it was really good stuff. But I remember just even talking to you, it's like this is really good. But in the last few years, I've watched as you all have really turned a corner and taken it to a next level with not only the color and the story, the story and the editing, but just the overall brand has really taken off. And I just would love to kind of catch up with you all on what you've been up to in the last few years, what things have changed since doing a few of these celebrity weddings, because that's how I found you. A photographer connection that I had worked with before posted your film, and I was like, who is that? And then the next week I saw you in Austin. I was like, whoa, this is, the world colliding. It was great. But since then, you guys have really changed a lot. So what did it look like? What was your business looking like right around that 2018-19 range? Because you'd been working really hard, building relationships, starting to charge a lot. But what's it looked like since roughly that time whenever you did the first couple of celebrity weddings?
Yeah, I think around 2019 was at the time we were thinking, oh my gosh, from what we have booked for the next year for 2020, this is going to be the game changer year. 2019 was just the start of it. Like you said, The Bachelor couple and Tiesto were our first two celebrity, I guess, weddings that we did. And just seeing where that took our business and just the relationships that we were investing in by that time, even though we started doing it, couple years prior to that, we were finally getting, the leads and the jobs. And so that was kind of the start of everything, I would say, was around that time.
Yeah, no, in 2019 when we met, we were just finally starting to see the fruits of our labor, all this networking events and relationship building. And then, 2019, kind of around the time that we met was when we were on the rise. And did it, some higher profile weddings that got us some attention. Right after Tiesto's, I think we did Ricky Fowler's wedding. He's a pro golfer, and that was it was bam, 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 and
COVID hit.
Yeah, well, we got named one of the top videographers by Harper's Bazaar, and then COVID hit.
That's right.
So we were we took our. After that Harper's Bazaar list came out, we took our family out to dinner, our parents and our kids, and we're we brought champagne and wine, and we're open the champagne, and we're celebrating. This is what we've been working towards. And then literally a month later, COVID hit. So it was kind of an interesting time to start to see this rise, and then just crash.
It was scary because it's all of that we just did could be erased, right now.
Yeah.
Like all of these relationships, they can forget about us because, what we all thought was going to be obviously a couple months at most, turned into basically a year and a half off for us with a little bit of work sprinkled throughout, but not much.
Yeah, and our clients, they weren't, most of them anyway, were not like adjusting, like doing smaller weddings. To them, as important as the wedding was, like they wanted to throw the event, so they're like, they just kept postponing and postponing, so that was an interesting time. But yeah, since then, since kind of that, restrictions easing up, it's been an insane 12 or 13 months for us, just like nonstop. We had earlier this year, we had a 12-week stretch where we did 13 weddings in 12 weeks. And only 2 of those did we not have to get on an airplane for. So that was pretty rough. Our kids lawyered up. They were going to try to emancipate. But we talked them down. We came to an agreement. Thanks to a mutual arbitration. That was good. No, that's a joke.
Glad you worked it out. Yes.
Yeah, we worked it out. No, but it's been good. And finally, it was like, we finally got to like start to really feel like we were getting back on track, and we're, so during the downtime, you asked what we did, John. We redid our brand. So we hired a company to redo our branding kind of around the beginning of 2020, around the time COVID was hitting and stuff like that. That was
huge for us.
Big turning point. And
then we were still networking, even though we weren't seeing people in person. We had Zooms constantly with people. We had an accountability group that we met with once a week. We filmed a documentary with a bunch of wedding professionals around the world. Lindsey would catch up with them on Zoom and see how they were doing and how the pandemic was affecting them. And so that was like a great way of not only documenting that crazy time for us all, but also to just be there for people, supporting them and rekindling those relationships when we're not able to see them, like before.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to go back and watch that now.
Yes. It's wild.
Pretty dated, but it was good. And it gave us like something to focus on too. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it was a way for us to kind of just keep in touch with, people in the industry that we've made relationships with too. So,
yeah. One thing that Lindsey, Cherish, I've never met you in person, but whenever Lindsey and I would get together, he would always say that Cherish is the one that runs the business. She's the one that like does, really, really propping you up. And I'm sure he's not just like saying that. Like, I know he believes that, she's doing the editing, she's doing, all this stuff behind the scenes. But I'm wondering how much, like, I guess I'm not seeing it as coincidence in that Lindsey in 2018, you left your full-time job. And then that's kind of when all of this stuff like really kind of took off for you guys. So how what was that change like? Because I know there's people out here that, they're sitting there, man, the luxury market seems to be like that thing that everyone's like, yes, I want to get there, but they're working in their day jobs and they're still grinding. So what was that transition kind of like, leaving and moving into that so that you could, get to know these people and go in that direction?
Yeah, it was in 2018, right?
Yeah, at the end of 2018, I left my office job, and that was tough. That was probably the hardest decision from a career standpoint or job standpoint that I've ever had to make. Because the company I was at, I was the first employee. It was a friend of mine that started the company, and we had together I was there almost 9 years. We'd built this company. When I left, there was like 30 employees, and we were doing between $8 and $10 million in sales every year. And so it was like, I could have done that forever, until I was, didn't want to work anymore. But it just got to the point where when I was with Cherish, doing Reve, and we're traveling and we're, meeting cool people and we're, going to these awesome places. It just was more fulfilling. And, Cherish would say, oh, Lindsey, look what you have done, with both of these businesses, splitting your time. Imagine if you could focus on one or the other, you know. Obviously, she wanted the one that I focus on be Reve. But yeah, no, that was definitely something that, you know, because it's really hard to, when you're divided, give a business everything that it really needs. And you know, that it's not just that we have these two businesses at the time. We have kids, we have, you know, our relationship as husband and wife. We have, you know, other things that are important to us, that we spend time on. So it was like, you know, it was a lot of things that that was dividing my time, taking my time. My cornhole career was really starting to kick off around this this time period. And,
It's incredible.
no, I'm just kidding. No, so Cherish was like, just come to the dark side, you know. And, and I remember we were at this.
I gave him wine in Canada.
Yeah, we were
sitting
in
on a
Banff.
balcony, overlooking. I said, "Come to Reve."
Yeah, I know. We were in Banff, in Alberta, Canada, Banff National Forest or Park or whatever.
It's not ugly. Yeah, it's not ugly.
No, not at all. You know, and we're there for work, and I, you know, don't have
employees
that are like, you know, asking me questions or needing my help. I didn't have, you know, customers that were unhappy because UPS damaged their, you know, product that we had shipped out. Like, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be with my wife. And I knew that if we set up the business correctly, we could charge more, and do less and have more time. Yeah, even though we maybe have to go away once or twice a month, when we're home, and I could pick up the kids and I could, you know, spend time with them, or I could focus on other things that are important to me too. So that was kind of like that moment, was like, okay, let's do this. So that was the summer of 2018. By October 2018, I quit my job and went full time with Cherish and Reve, and really focused on, you know, growing the business, creating a business that would work for us, instead of us constantly grinding and having to work, you know, every single weekend. We were trying to, how do we do bigger and bigger events? How do we charge more? And that's kind of what our focus was. So, you know, we wanted our films to look the part as best as we possibly could. We also knew that the branding needed to be there. We knew that it was about who you know, the relationships needed to be there. And so we just kind of went to work, put our head down. And then by the end of 2019, when we met, is kind of when those opportunities started kicking off. And then it was like, oh, shoot. Okay, now it was like sink or swim kind of at that point. Because if you look back at some of those...
Yeah, it's not good stuff.
we've grown a lot even since then, you know, out of necessity, but and out of wanting to create, you know, a better product.
Yeah,
So,
and part of the reason for not wanting to work every weekend and just do the jobs that we're passionate about, it helps us to still be creative and do the things that we want to do. Whereas before it was survival, you know, just got to get this edit out. We got to keep up with deliverables. And so now, despite the year we've had, because it was busy because of postponements and pandemic and whatnot, now we finally have taken back control and are back to that one, at the most 2 a month. And so that's why I keep saying 2023 is like the year of balance, the year of control.
We also said that at the beginning of 2020. So
yeah,
look out, guys. Something's coming.
No, I think it's really inspiring. Like when I look at your story, a word that I keep seeing is like, you guys were willing to make sacrifices and like to further your brand. You're strategic about your brand, but like you were making sacrifices when it comes to certain things because there was a greater good that you're aiming toward. And outside of COVID kind of throwing, you know, just a wrench in everyone's plan, like you next year, you know, I'm sure don't have the overload like you had this year, and like you say, you're back in control. But all the conversations I've had with you, you sacrifice your time for things that you see help, that like will help you take steps towards your goal. You're in our mastermind group, joining conversations almost every single week. You're taking the time. You jump on this podcast with us. You could be editing right now. You could be doing other things. You're sacrificing your time. And it's because you I've watched it with like you doing all these networking events and going all these things. And like most people do not do that much stuff, like the behind the scenes stuff. And they're like, well, how come, they're so successful, or why are they winning? And people don't see the behind the scenes. And I just being a friend and saying, oh, like they sacrifice a lot, like they're leaving and they're going and they're making these relationships and they're doing these things. I know we kind of touched on it, but like getting to 2019 or so, getting those first celebrity weddings. Talk a little bit just about like the kinds of sacrifices that maybe you had to make, that if somebody's out there and they're saying, hey, I want to go I want to make connections, or I want to like get out there, or like maybe paint a picture of what life looked like as you were sacrificing to get to the first couple of celebrity weddings, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of networking and different like calibers of networking, I would say. Like we started locally at first, getting to know people in our market, and then went to things like Wedding MBA, The Knot, which would also like host a gala in New York. Then we did Engage, and that's more destination luxury. And so it was constant networking all the time. And it was expensive. It wasn't cheap to do.
Yeah, we kind of committed to like, okay, we knew this formula. We had kind of repeated it over and over again, relationship building, all that stuff. So we kind of committed to like a good solid, I would say like year or two of just, we're going to go to these networking events. We're going to meet people. We're going to be somebody that when, anyone thinks of, videographers, we want to be, one of the top, 3 to 5 people they think of. And just kind of, just because we're visible.
And consistently.
And consistent, yeah. Because it's out of sight, out of mind. People, because our business is referral based. We're getting most of our business from wedding planners and photographers and things like that. They're not sitting around thinking, oh, I wonder what Lindsey and Cherish are doing. I wonder if they need a wedding. So it was like, just like being in front of people, being top of mind. And so that's kind of what we did. We just committed to that. It was tough, sacrificing certain things, time with friends or family or other pursuits. But definitely in the end I think has paid off, and hopefully will continue to pay off in the future. And
I'm introverted, so I was not, networking doesn't come easily to me. So I am kind of like a pusher to Lindsey. Like I'll find out all the details about people and be like, that's so-and-so, you need to go talk to them. This is what they're doing. And that helped a lot. Like he was always good at just like making those connections like right away. And I like to nurture the relationships. I like the long term. I like the deep conversations. I hate surface level. It's literally like the worst thing in the world to me. Like, don't talk to me about the weather. I don't care about that. Like, let's get deep. Like, what are your struggles? Like, how's your family? That's where we thrive. And I think just the two of those things together, like in terms of networking, is gold. And so it's worked out having both of us when it comes to that.
Yeah, so that's really good. Again, John kind of made the point earlier about just people seeing you kind of on the top of the game, and they don't see all of this stuff that you have done, all the years that you have grinded and build those relationships and sacrifice. So we're gonna go to break, and then when we come back, Cherish is gonna tell me about her struggles, because she likes deep conversation and not this surface level stuff that we've been doing. So when I'm kidding, but we're gonna go to break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Lindsey and Cherish.
Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
One question that we see wedding filmmakers asking, what is the best site for licensing music? We have one answer, MusicBed. I have been exclusively using MusicBed since 2016 and our films are better because of it. I have been told during consultations that couples love our films because they feel raw, authentic, and that the music wasn't cheesy. MusicBed has a roster of incredibly talented musicians, bands, and composers who pour their hearts into their work, and you can hear the difference. Find the perfect song with MusicBed's intuitive search features like genre, mood, beats per minute, and key, which is probably my favorite of the search parameters. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed to do what I did and take your wedding films to the next level. Use promo code HTFW22 at checkout to receive 1 month free with the purchase of any annual subscription. That's howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. All right, we are back from break with Lindsey and Cherish from Reve. And while we were on our break, they started talking a little bit more about some of the sacrifices they were making and how it wasn't just Cherish being uncomfortable doing networking, being an introvert and that kind of stuff, but it was a lot more than that. So why don't you guys touch on some of the stuff that you did that was sacrificed from like a work side of things?
Yeah, so we worked for free a lot in 2018 and 2019, we did a lot of, styled shoots or like editorial shoots for different, bridal brands because of the opportunity of connecting with a certain photographer or, other individual. And so, there was a lot of behind the scenes videos that we would do for planners.
Even when they didn't have like videographers at the wedding, we would go and follow them around just for them, just for their own content because they didn't have that.
Yeah, we did this. New Year's Eve behind the scenes for a big planner in New York, and we, with our families, have a tradition on New Year's Day. We all watch the Rose Parade and football and breakfast and stuff like that. And so, speaking of sacrifices, that was one thing that was pretty tough. Like we filmed this New Year's Eve wedding behind the scenes. They didn't even have a videographer. They brought us there to just film behind the scenes. And then we literally that night got on a red eye, flew back to California so that we, wouldn't miss, time with our family and our kids and stuff like that. You have to do what it takes to get somebody's attention. And it's not just necessarily the quality of the work, but how you are to work with. And so doing behind the scenes for people or doing these shoots, these styled shoots, these editorial shoots really, really helps people see what you are like to work with, because that's the biggest thing. The work has to be good, obviously, but to get some of these opportunities, these bigger opportunities, people want to work with people they know they can trust, that are easy to work with, and so that really helped a lot. But yeah, it was a lot of time and energy. Like Cherish mentioned, she's introverted, and hopefully she doesn't mind me saying that. Like it's taxing for her to go to an event and connect with people. She's in some cases like it's painful on the inside for her because she's just not that type of personality, and so that's a sacrifice too. But getting out of your comfort zone, usually means you're on the right track when it comes to that type of stuff. So yeah, there's not just one way of doing it. There's all different roads and avenues and
it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like we still will do behind the scenes videos for planners who we love because they asked, and we're not going to charge them for it because guess what? They give us thousands and thousands of dollars worth of business. So why would we expect any more from them? And so we do that. We just had a planner reach out for a possible wedding next year, and their style is a little different than what we normally do, but we're going to re-edit them something in their style at no cost. We don't even have this client, but we're hoping to get them. But this is all the different things that you have to do in order to be a team player and to make our planners happy, because they're the ones who have the key.
Yeah, they want to work with us.
Yeah.
They told it like, hey, we want to submit
you
guys. You guys
yeah.
are our top videographer, but they're looking for something that's, not traditional or not like your style. So what can you do? And that's uncomfortable. It's like, oh man, should we just say, well, that's not our client then? Or in the back
Embrace
of our
the
mind.
challenge.
Yeah. Embrace the challenge and think at the end of this, like, even if we don't get hired, hey, you know what, maybe we'll have a different sample that we can show to other people and capture a different audience than what we're capturing now and just grow that way as well. So, just being willing to try things, I think, and put yourself out there is huge. And that's kind of what we've done.
I see you about to go. Go for it.
I wrote it in the notes. I have something.
Dang it. Okay.
So
gotcha.
just
I didn't click over that. Let me see. Yep, there it says it. Okay, go.
Okay.
I don't have any notes. Should we be taking notes? Is there going to be a
Yes.
test after this?
There's a test.
Definitely.
You're failing.
Boy, I don't know.
I was going to say, I like how you said, Cherish, that, okay, you guys, as far as quote unquote made it in our industry, I mean, the Harper's Bazaar list is the top thing, if not one of the top honors, that our industry can get, right? And, just getting with working with those type of people and stuff. And I appreciate what you said. They're like, hey, we're here, we're at the top. I know that you're not saying that, but you're like, we're here, we've made it, but still we're willing to still help the people that got us to where we are. We're still willing to reinvent ourselves a little bit. You're talking about this client that their vision is different than what you guys do. And I think that that's something that a lot of people kind of struggle with, is whenever you've been doing this for a long time and you've quote unquote made it, you just continue to stick with the thing that got you there. Or maybe you're like, hey, all that work, that was, 2019 me. It's now 2022 going into 2023. I'm not going to do stuff for free anymore. I'm not going to do that stuff anymore. But I find it really refreshing that a lot of people look at you guys as they're at the top, but they're still reinventing themselves. They're still doing stuff for free to just help people out. And I really appreciate that about you. And listeners, as you're out there and you want to build these relationships with people, like, this is how you continue to do that, is you continue to do that well after the time whenever you think, hey, I probably don't need to, because you guys probably don't need to do that stuff anymore, and you'll be fine, but you see value in it. So that it wasn't really a question. It was more of I see that in you and I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I feel, I appreciate that. And because I think we still, like, I don't feel like we're at the top of our game. I feel like we can keep climbing and can get better. And I actually, in a conversation I had with John a few weeks ago, I was talking about, it's kind of like being in the NFL, right? John's happy that I brought this up.
Thanks for. Yeah, I was going to bring it up, so go for it.
No, we're very, very fortunate to be working with the people that we're working with and getting the opportunities that we're getting to do, but everybody else is trying to get those same. Not everybody else. A lot of other people are trying to get those same opportunities, and it's kind of like the NFL. Like, think of the tens of thousands of people that want to be playing football at a professional level. There's so many, but how many actually make it? And then once you make it on a team, you have to keep hustling. You have to keep working to stay on that, on that team, because there's that, new hot young athlete that's that wants your job too, And so that's kind of our take when it comes to this as well is like you can't rest on your laurels. You have to keep getting better. You have to keep reinventing or looking at your brand, looking at your films. How do we make this better? Learning. That's why I join you guys sometimes on the mastermind group, because I love, as much as I love connecting with everybody and seeing everybody, I love learning, and like the things that you can learn from each other is huge. And I apply those things all the time in our business and in our work. And so that's just how you have to be if you want to maintain,
Yeah. And I've seen it from you, like a word I would use to describe the both of you is like humble. You're very humble, and you have humility when it comes to, like, you're not trying to be like, we charge this much, we are doing this, look at us. You are serving people first. And that's the thing that I think that really attracted Nick and I to like wanting to be around you all more. And that's what's attractive to people, right? And it's like, well, of course we want Lindsey and Cherish to be the ones at the wedding. They do all this stuff for us. They're great. They never complain. They're not asking when the meal is going to be here. They're not huffing or puffing. They know how to handle relationships and take care of people. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with your previous experience and your, like having employees and doing like other jobs and stuff like that. But so you guys are so intentional though with the relationships you're making. It's like Cherish has gone and said, that's that person. I've looked that person up. I know what they're doing. And then you've got this like Batman and Robin tag team where it's just like, okay, you go make connections and you like really care about these people. And you cultivate relationships. You take the time to do that. And then you keep yourself humble to say, I know this could be taken away at any time. If you're in the NFL, you're the number one quarterback, unless your name's Tom Brady, like it can be taken away anytime. And it's just like, you never know. And there's so many people saying, I want that spot. You sit down on the bench too long, I'm going to be working out harder than you. I'm going to be learning more than you. And, my favorite basketball player of all time, Kobe Bryant, it's just like, Kobe was at the gym before everybody, and he left after everybody, and he was Kobe. He was the best while he was playing, for sure. I argue the best of all time. You can fight me. But the point is, I mentioned Tom Brady and Kobe Bryant in the same paragraph, Nick. This is a good podcast.
That was wild.
Thank you. Everybody's like, whoa, this is great. But like,
I just took a note.
Thank you. Note-taking, podcast scores going up. But I guess the point is like, you don't see you sitting back and saying like, okay, cool, we're up here. This is good. You're humble. You're asking questions. You're like joining in our mastermind group or joining in conversation saying, this is what I'm learning or this is what I'm. And then I've watched you, and I want to talk about this next. It's just like what you've been doing to step up your game in the last few years, because like I said at the beginning of the podcast, your work was solid when we first met, but it's 10 times better now. The color is so much better, the editing, the storytelling, just the level of detail. And I know that's part of being part of this, in this atmosphere that you're in, it's got to be next level. So what have you guys been doing to really take it to the next level when it comes to your shooting, your editing, your color, your relationships, any of that side of things?
Before I answer that question, I just want to say I do not consider myself or either of us to be Tom Brady or Kobe Bryant. We're more like the backup running back in a committee, 2 or 3 running back team. But I just want to stay there.
I like the kicker. I'll be a kicker.
Yeah, we're nothing like Kobe. Yes.
We're just one of the we're like a top 20 NFL kicker.
That works.
That just wants to keep
the humility. See, there you go.
kicking.
Continue. Yes.
I'll let Cherish answer your question.
No, I think
what was the question?
Let me start over. So Tom Brady,
Kobe Bryant, and Ricky Fowler walk into a bar.
go.
And they said, "Ouch."
It's throwing me off. No,
what have we done? What have we done?
I think like obviously you'll hear it all the time. Look at inspiration outside of the videography community. I think that's going to set you aside from the rest, because if we're always looking at each other, then you're just going to start mimicking each other, and you're never going to grow and become, unique in your craft. And so we've done that a lot. We try, honestly, to look a lot at who our ideal clients are hiring within the wedding community.
For like photo?
For photo, yeah. I was going to say that, but yes.
Give her a second to speak.
Sorry.
The biggest inspiration, are photographers. Those are, other than the planner, they're the next one that they hire first, And so that will dictate a lot of times what the style of the client is looking for, what's appeasing to them. And a lot of our clients are choosing photographers who either shoot film photography or they used to shoot film, and now because of digital and the way it is, they've kind of migrated that way, but their photos still look like film photography. And so we've taken that and really designed our own colors around that, because when a photographer or even a planner is wanting to hire video, they don't want to hire two completely different looks. They want it across the board to flow and be a part of, that design deck that they're presenting to the client. And they know their client, and why would they present two different color schemes, basically? And so because of those photographers and the weddings that they were getting, that's kind of what we did, and we went that route. And Lindsey he has a different take on colors. He likes our colors, but
no, it's funny because Cherish, she started a few years ago. She was like, well, who's the photographer? Or, before she goes to like color a film, she'd be like looking at some of the sneak peeks that the photographer may have provided to the planner or the bride, the couple, and then even us. And so she started to kind of like, hey, I wonder if I can kind of mimic, and so that our video looks like these photos, and that's kind of where that quest, I think, started for her. And you think about like what Cherish was saying, the planner and the couple, they have this vision for this event. They're going to spend a lot of money on it. And the photos and the videos, not only should they be consistent with each other and cohesive, but also they should really be an accurate representation of that vision, and look as good as it did, if not better, in person. And so that's kind of a big focus that we took. We noticed, that being the current trend in the higher end market, we were looking at, okay, who are the clients that we would like to serve, that we would like to work for, who's doing the weddings that we would like to do, and who are the photographers that are getting those jobs. And so, we'd look at and just find inspiration by their brand or their colors and trying to include that in us. And what's funny is like like Cherish was saying, I love our colors, but it's not necessarily
what you're drawn to.
What I'm drawn to as a person individually, but I know that that's what our planner is like, and I know that that's what our clients and the clients that are currently hiring us, what they like, and so that's the route we go. That's the direction we're trying to take it. And I'm proud of what Cherish has done and to develop our look. And you always know you're on the right, path when you start getting messages from other videographers like, what camera are you using? What LUTs are you using? What colors how are you guys getting that? So we kind of knew we were on the right path to just getting that kind of affirmation from just our peers and colleagues and stuff like that. So I would say that's a big thing that we've done. Just trying to get as technically sound as possible, upping our game when it comes to audio, our filming techniques, the cameras that we use, just really trying to dial in our look, look that is feels like our brand, feels high end, and is going to serve the planners and the couples that hire us.
I think that's a really powerful message, and is that you said, I don't really care for our color. Like Lindsey, you personally, I don't really care for the look of it, but that the people that are hiring you do. I know John has talked about this with his website and how there's lots of copy on it, and he, as a person, does not prefer that, but he has found out that his client likes to read a lot of that stuff. And I think that that is a huge shift in business when we, obviously we're infused in it, but we remove ourselves at least a little bit to realize who I am working with and who I want to work with, and then maybe changing or adjusting our business so that we can work with those people. And that is with something like creating, a film that can be a piece of artwork and you pour so much into it. That's a hard thing to do, to say, listen, I'm going to do this, but I don't really like it. But I understand that these people do. I didn't mean that, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's really a really difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I like our colors. Like I said, I'm proud of our colors, but it's not. It's, I guess to put it, I think there's a level of cinematicness to our colors, but not so much. I think because it is, going more like that film photography look that we're trying to emulate or achieve. But yeah, I like it dark and moody and cinematic. I think it looks awesome. I love that stuff. But when we are in our consultations with our clients, and the couple is sitting right there saying, like, we were so refreshed when we started watching your videos, because all these videos we watched, it was just like, looked like a funeral video or whatever. Like, because it's just dark and moody and dramatic. It's like, okay. Well, we got to lean into that,
And it wasn't just our clients, but like our planners too. So like he said before, an accurate representation of what they've done. A planner does not like it when they get the film back or even just a details video and the colors are not what they designed for this wedding. They're all desaturated, or the hue has been changed. Like, that's not what they did. And so that's a big part too why they like to bring us on, is because they know that they're going to get something that's, accurate representation of what they did.
Yeah, I had a planner tell me once that when they got their photos and video back from a wedding, like it was a wedding they were really proud of, they could not wait to like release the photos and the details and all that stuff in the video, and they cried because there wasn't enough of the details. So let that be a lesson. Like, make sure you capture that stuff. But also, just because it didn't represent, what they were hoping it was going to represent, and that's why a lot of times we've heard of, and I've even experienced this before, certain planners, they'll bring in their own photographer to capture details because they just, it allows them to guarantee that they're going to get what they want, get exactly what they need for their brand to stay in business themselves, because they're trying to do the same thing. Yeah. So, so that was something that we've really, really focused on and leaned into, and that's kind of what we talked about at the Calibrate workshop a little bit this last summer about, viewing the planner as our client, just as much as the couple is our client, viewing the planner as our client, because that client's going to keep referring us business. They're going to keep giving us the opportunities that we're looking for, we're hoping for. Whereas, the couple might refer us once or twice, but the planner is going to give us repeat business. So serving them. And that's kind of our philosophy when it comes to our business and our brand and the colors that we've created for Reve. We're proud of it. I do like our colors, Nick. Just so.
I know. I wasn't.
I knew what you meant.
I didn't mean to insinuate that, but yeah. But so maybe we were chatting about this, and that just really struck me, and I thought that was a good point that we had to detour off. But we're talking about color, and you're talking about the importance of it, and especially reaching that more higher end clientele, more of the film kind of look. And you guys have a new product that I know you've been working on for a very long time that you are very excited about. And I believe it's going to be available today, like right now at this moment. So I've teed you up again. Tell us what it is.
So we have decided to release the Reve Films LUT Pack. And they're available today for limited time. We're doing kind of like a soft release. We just want them to be available for a short period of time. So for the next 14 days, we're going to make those available to the How to Film Weddings podcast listeners. And this will allow us to kind of get feedback from everybody. But we hope that, people who struggle, and we know a lot of people are editing right now, people who struggle with colors will, be able to benefit from, just the hours and hours of tinkering and how does this green look or that green or, whatever, will benefit from it. So yeah, as of today, we're releasing our baby, into the world.
Finally, your baby is released.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. But I'm excited to see what people do with them and get feedback from other people, so we can either know how good or terrible they really are.
And that website is LuTs.com, right?
Yes. And Reve is always misspelled, so that's probably not a good marketing strategy, but it's LEREVE, LUTs.com, where you can purchase them. And if you're listening to this late, just enter your email address, sign up for our mailing list, and we'll make sure that if and when we make these available again, that you get first dibs. So yeah, that's our big announcement. It feels great to get that off my chest.
I'm excited to use them. I've been trying to steal from your color with my editor for a long time. Like, just do you see Reve's recent films? Like that. Can you help me do that? No, one thing I was going to say too, and I'm really excited about this. I've been talking to you both about this for a while, and I love when new products come out in the wedding film industry, and I think about photographers and how far ahead they are. How much further ahead they are than wedding filmmakers, and how they invest into their businesses and they invest into education. And we just talked about this a couple weeks back on our podcast about investing into growing, investing into relationships, investing into education, making yourself humble, investing into LUT packs, investing into learning color or learning all these things. And it's like watching the industry. I'm seeing it over the last 4 or 5 years of us doing this, more and more people coming to the party and saying, hey, I want to put something out there. I want to make myself vulnerable. And so if you're out there listening, just so you know, their colors are ridiculously good. Lindsey loves the colors. He just loves Batman movies. I get it. I like them too. When I'm putting stuff together for my clients, as I'm pushing 20,000 for films, and you guys even further than that, I know my website needs more words because mom's reading those words. You know that your colors need to be more fine art. And so if you're somebody that is wanting to get that next level elevated look in your films, this is something you really want to heavily consider. And like they said, LuTs.com. Did you guys, I know you mentioned this before, but was there some kind of special or something that you said? I forgot to ask about that.
Yes. So we have a coupon code, and it's John Bunn's hair. You just type.
That's terrible. Is it
John? No, I'm just kidding. It's HTFW. If you use that coupon code at checkout, you will get an exclusive discount just for How to Film Weddings podcast listeners. It's really John Bunn's hair. That's the real deal.
If you give them an extra, an awesome promo code that's John Bunn's hair, and they get something better, I will be a happy camper.
It's going to be HTFW is a 5%, and then John Bunn's hair is going to be 6%, something
That's
like
right.
that, right?
And you'll get a lock of John's hair.
That's right.
This is not accurate.
He's got plenty. He's got plenty to share.
I even cleaned it up for you today. I got
a
clean haircut.
For those that don't know, I was teased John about his evolving haircuts. So you look good, man.
Hey, appreciate
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Lindsey, Cherish, we thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to hang out with us today. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Just thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Where can people find you if they want to follow along? I'm sure they know at this point, but what's the best place to find you?
I mean, our Instagram is where we're the most active. In fact, you could subscribe to our Instagram.
I do.
You are a subscriber.
Nick doesn't, not yet.
Yeah, which actually I'm like just as excited about as our LUTs that we're releasing.
For a long time, we couldn't post behind the scenes because that's just not what our clients want to see. But on our subscriber channel,
so we've been posting a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's exclusive just for subscribers, and we've actually been posting job referrals like leads. And
Good
good ones. Yeah. Somebody that subscribes to us just booked a $10,000 wedding that they got a lead that they got.
It's a guarantee. If you follow them on Instagram, you will get $10,000 bookings. I heard it.
See? Oh, I need to do
that
this
for the
right
real
now.
Blake. Cut that for the real Blake.
Yeah, that's right. We're Reve Films on Instagram, all one word, LEREVE Films. That's the place to find us, or LaRevLuts.com. And thank you guys. I really appreciate both of you for the opportunities you've given us and just, what you guys do for the community. So keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not that you needed to hear that from me, but
I liked it.
But we love you.
Right back at you. Nick, you want to wrap? You want to tell them bye? You got hearts? Is that the end? We're like 250 episodes in. You want to end it? You want to ask them if they have anything else, or are you good? We're good.
I'm good.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys. Thanks. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films? Look no further. Our friends over at VidFlow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. VidFlow is pay-per-use with no large upfront costs or commitment, and you can cancel at any time. VidFlow offers a premium viewing experience for all of your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years of hosting and an experience for your couples that will blow them away. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/vidflow, where you can save 20% off a yearly business membership by using promo code HTFW20. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way. Give your couples something to rave about by using VidFlow.